Welcome to the Business Leadership Series, where we engage with leaders who are making an impact on their worlds and who want to share their knowledge and experience for your personal and professional growth. The following interview is designed to inspire you to become the best leader you can be. Your host, Derek Champagne, is the founder and CEO of The Artist Evolution, a full-service agency building successful brands, marketing tools, and campaigns, and also the author of the best-selling book, Don't Buy a Duck. And now, let's begin today's Leadership Series interview.
Welcome to the Business Leadership Series, where our goal is to inspire you to become the best leader that you can be. I've got our guest today, Tracy Deforge, and she is the founder of the Player's Impact. Tracy, thanks for joining us today.
Oh, I'm happy to be here. Thank you for having me, Derek.
I'm really excited about what you're doing, and I'm going to let you share some of your background, but you've been a D1 track and field athlete, and you've described yourself as working in the intersection of sports, media, and technology ever since position with the NHL, and you've worked with the MLB as well. Tell me about, kind of give us some of your background. I'd like for our listeners to just get to know who the guest is. So give us some highlights of your journey, and then I want to really dive into what you're doing now, because I just think it's incredible what you're doing with athletes.
Yeah, sure. Well, you've touched on it. So, and as an attorney by training, my first job out was as a lawyer with the National Hockey League, very much working with the member clubs on their rights deals. From there, I went to MLB.com, where I was one of the first 50 employees, helped building that. Was very much a startup environment with the benefit of a brand and a budget. I loved my time there. We were building something brand new that hadn't been done before. And so we were, how they say, breaking eggs to make an omelet, right? So we weren't always making people happy, but we were really learning and cutting our digital teeth there. And that experience has stayed with me and taught me that I really did enjoy the entrepreneurship side of the sports business. Then quickly went connected with a former colleague from the NHL in a sports marketing firm that we grew and sold to an online company called the Active Network. Was activating sports sponsorships in the youth sports space. I spent a lot of time there. From there, really starting to morph as a business person into the operations of things, as well as sort of continuing the legal and business affairs, but not the straight legal work anymore, because I was just so enthralled on the business side. And we started a venture capital firm in 2007, investing at that intersection of sports, media, and technology, as you mentioned, on the success of two young entrepreneurs that we helped raise capital and then sell them strategically to big sports properties, including ESPN and Sports Illustrated. Unfortunately, the timing wasn't right for for the financial markets for us to raise a committed fund. So we pivoted, created a holding company, and from there incubated a video company, a mobile video company in the sports space. Took that from concept to Series A, and jumped out at that point. Not for any other reason than I wanted to explore other opportunities, and that's when I started the Player's Impact.
I love how you summarize that up. And again, some of the things you shared, like, it was not ideal, so we pivoted, and that sounds so polished now. But I know that was a big moment in time for you. I promise you no hard questions, but if you'll indulge me on this one, take me back to that kind of moment though. What does that look like to be faced with, it's your baby, you're growing it, and then there's changes happen? How do you pivot? Because I know a lot of our listeners have gone through that. I have with some of my companies. Take me back to that time and how you're able to make that kind of transformation.
So I'll go, I guess, with the first pivot being at the venture capital firm and realizing that we weren't going to get to our committed fund. It was a very difficult pivot, actually, because we had all of what we thought was the exact right formula to be successful. We had track record. We had executives from the National Hockey League leading the charge. We were former executives. We were positioned well to make a difference in sports media and technology, but it was the macros that prevented us from getting to where we wanted to go. And so I don't want to say it's reading the tea leaves, but something that we like to say that we do, looking at our deal flow at the time, was to seeing what's around the corner. And so it was taking a step backwards to see what the next 3 steps forward we're going to be. And that really helped us sort of look at what we were seeing and digesting it in a way that we said, okay, here's where the opportunity is. And that led us to mobile and video. Because remember, this is back in 2008, 2009 area. So really mobile was just coming. Mobile video was just coming to life. This was pre-Facebook and pre-Snapchat, and we were creating something. When we started our mobile video company as the pivot to this VC firm, we were we thought privacy was concerned. So we had another business model pivot even in that mobile video company that we saw coming, and so we went from a B2C business model to a B2B. And that, again, it's like seeing where the answers are coming from and not being so stuck on your original idea to not understand where the opportunity is.
That's great. Thanks for sharing that, which to me makes it even more relevant what you're doing now, that wealth of experience that you have. I do find it fascinating that technology is changing at the speed of light, and our companies need to be aware of that now. And, it used to be that you say 2008, that doesn't sound like that long ago, right? In 1998, if you said in 10 years didn't seem like a big deal. Now 10 years is a lifetime. And
absolutely.
And the pivots are so critical. And so I love what you're doing. So now take us to the Players Impact. Tell us about that, because you're hearing your background and talking about pivoting and your experience in those different roles just makes more sense as to how qualified your team is now to do what you're doing.
Yeah, thank you. So the Players Impact, it happened extremely organically. Started talking to a few athletes around, their interest in what early stage opportunities were. Again, having the pipeline and the years of experience of investing, building, buying, selling companies in the sports media tech space, it was pretty easy to bring sort of that experience and macro view of the landscape to the athlete. What we decided to do very quickly as the athletes were becoming more and more interested is to think more around, one, curating these early stage investment opportunities based on the deals that we were seeing and vetting them and really mitigating the risk of that asset class, but also educating. What we were learning is that there was a component of how do I evaluate an early stage opportunity, whether I'm deploying capital or putting my brand against it to make a difference. And so we quickly started forming these, the concept of educating around the early stage ecosystem in a way that would help them make these decisions. And from there, we learned that our athletes are very entrepreneurial. We have a lot of entrepreneurs on our roster, and how do we help them benefit from our network, from our years of experience, and help them more or less accelerate them in their businesses.
Again, I had the opportunity to see entrepreneur investment pitches in Nashville during the NBA drafts at your event, and it was really fascinating and just a pleasure to be there and see the different types of companies involved. Give me a profile of the type of athlete or what they're looking at doing. How are they a fit, and how are you most helping them?
Oh my goodness, Derek. So there's no one type of athlete, right? Our roster is very diverse. We've got men and women, all different sports. We've got the 10-year NFL veteran and the female ice hockey Olympian. Awesome. We've got doctors and lawyers and wealth managers amongst them. We've got, entrepreneurs who are starting businesses. So when you talk about our entrepreneurial athletes, there's we did a co-branded event around the NBA draft with Shark Tank, ABC's Shark Tank. We did a private casting call for our athlete entrepreneurs for the opportunity to be on season 11. And it was there that we really saw the diversity of how talented our athlete pool really is when it comes to business. And so we had one gentleman who was actually making a Stroop waffle company, right? He's so happy selling cookies. He loves it. And he makes them over in Amsterdam and imports them to the U.S. And then we had another athlete who took his own experience around rehabilitation, rugby player, and created a recovery machine or a core stabilizer that was very unique and had some intellectual property around it. And so there's another, I'll mention another entrepreneur who decided to disrupt the real estate world all around appraising property and home inspection. So he's creating a platform, almost like an on-demand appraisal company that's really also very interesting. It's extremely diverse in what our teammates do, and we love to support them in whatever those efforts are. And surprisingly, it's not all around sports as you think. We don't make our investments specifically in the sports tech space. We definitely see a lot of that because as investors, we're more strategic to those portfolio companies. But we go across all verticals the same way that our athlete entrepreneurs are building businesses across all verticals.
That's super exciting. I had no idea you were covering that many different areas. What are some of the highlights for you in this business? And it doesn't have to be a big moment. I guess I can think back on my company. Some of the smallest things have been the most rewarding or exciting. A milestone, a success story, a partnership. What stands out to you as maybe one of your fondest memories?
Well, I guess there are a few, and it's hard to choose, right? Just for me, the organic growth, these athletes sharing and trusting me to share the recommendation to join TPI has been fascinating for me and really something that I appreciate about that. And along those same lines, we just brought on about a month and a half, 2 months ago, my partner, Marcus Colston. Yeah. Here's somebody who is just epitomizes the athlete that we hope to bring on, is someone who's spent 10 years in the league, got his MBA while he was still playing, very aware of what, he wanted to do moving forward. And he's been a great asset to TPI and what our future growth is going to be.
Very exciting. So we've just got a couple minutes left. What's anything exciting coming up next that you can share?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I don't think this is a secret. I like to tell everybody we're building a virtual locker room. So an online platform around education, access, and resources, connecting this early stage ecosystem to the professional athlete world. We're looking to launch that before the end of this year. And we think that, we're going to be able to provide more personalized, customized journey through this ecosystem for each of the athletes on our team, and to give them those resources and access where they want it, when they want it, on their mobile phones, in a way that's going to, I think, really be a game changer for them.
Wow. The virtual locker room. How exciting. So tell me, is there anything else that you want our listeners to know about your organization, Tracy?
Just that we are consummate teammates, right? We love to partner with folks. We believe that this ecosystem, there's enough room for us all to play. And so if there's anyone who's interested in partnering with us, we'd love a conversation.
Tracy, thank you again for being our guest. The Players Impact, theplayersimpact.com if you want to learn more information. And Tracy, I look forward to continuing to following you and watching the exciting things that you're doing.
Thank you, Derek. I appreciate you letting me share the story of how the Players Impact is empowering the athlete in business, and look forward to more conversation.
Yeah, my pleasure. We'll talk soon.
You've been listening to the Business Leadership Series, where we engage with leaders who are making an impact on their worlds and who want to share their knowledge and experience for your personal and professional growth. This interview was designed to inspire you to become the best leader you can be.